you own two very big sports franchises in Washington, D.C., but then you've got eSports. Talk to me about how that's coming on. It seemed like a fantasy not too long ago. Now it's actually an actual thing.
Well, everyone says it's the newest and biggest thing. It's actually 60 years old. 60 years ago, the CRT, cathode ray tube, was invented, and they wanted to show it off, and the scientists created a game called Tennis for Two. And that was the precursor to Pong.
Pong, remember well.
And Pong they would put in bars, and you would watch your buddies playing Pong. Well, that's like eSports. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, you could get connected. And once you get people connected and you're competing with one another, a professional sport, a professional league is just a natural outgrowth. And what the amazing thing about the momentum here is that 4 billion people connected to the internet, only 300 million in the United States. So we've become a very, very small player in terms of internet traffic and connectivity. And this game is inherently global. The best players are from Korea, South Korea, the Philippines. China has exploded. We own a team, Team Liquid, that plays in League of Legends. League of Legends owned by Riot Games. Riot Games acquired and owned by Tencent, a $600 billion behemoth from China. And so this is not a fad. This is not something that's like Pokemon or something. This is a really, really important phenomenon. Young people get exposed to these video games.
And League of Legends is huge for
League of Legends. It's 160 million monthly users, growing incredibly quickly, and the video game business, and then connecting people. So you have these communities. Advertisers want to reach these people, and so I told someone the other day, our Team Liquid group has a house, and that's where the players are, and we sold naming rights for $4.5 million a year
to
a sponsor for the house. And
how much does the house cost?
Well, the house,
less than
we were just
million?
renting it, right? Yes, but the reason is that these players, these professionals, as they're learning new moves, as they're learning what's called the meta, the software changes, and the professionals will learn what to do. They'll go and share that information with their fans
on
Twitch, on YouTube, and they'll get hundreds of thousands live people watching. And you go, well, that doesn't sound so big. And you go, well, that's actually bigger than CNN in prime time.
Right.
And so what we're seeing is the kind of the birth of a new sports league. I believe that because of its global nature, because that the players, my son started playing his video games and multi-user games when he was 12 years old.
He's full grown now.
28 years old. He's still playing, right? So I think what happens is the audience continues to grow.
So what's the business model for you?
Well, for us, the business model will eventually be just like professional sports. You'll have media rights. You'll have ticket sales. We're all looking at, do we build our own little mini theaters, our own little mini arenas, big tournaments you'll have in 20,000 seat arenas. And there's new kinds of models other than sponsorship, and we can learn a lot from eSports. There's this crowdfunding phenomenon. Team Liquid won Dota 2 championship.
What do you mean crowdfunding? Crowdfunding as applied how?
Crowdfunding on, they said we have 160 million users, we have 20,000 tickets to sell, bid on the tickets. And then, hey, we want to raise money so that the players can have prize money. And the more money that we raise, we'll give it all to the players. And so the fans...
And the fans are literally putting just money in just so the players can win more.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And so but that shows how vested they are.
How long is the lifespan, therefore, of a game like League of Legends? Because right now, League of Legends is one of the great games. The graphics are fantastic, top of the line. The world in which the players play is really cool, and but it seems like it has a limited lifespan.
Actually, I think it's the opposite. We're here in LA, and I've been chatting with some of the studio executives and go, your business model is insane. You spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars now shooting thousands of hours in film.
Right.
Then you digitize, you go from analog to digital, to edit it down to 90 minutes, and then you spend another $100 million to turn it back into analog to get it out in the movie theaters, and it opens and closes in a couple of weeks.
Right.
What's happening in these big game studios now is that they're shooting thousands of hours, and it's all available because it's online, and so the story keeps going, and then they make changes. I was here at the NBA. I said, imagine if when everyone went out for the slam dunk contest, overnight all of the rims were 14 feet high. Well, that's the meta. They'll change something. And then the NBA said, but we have some sneakers that allow you to jump 2 feet higher, and you can buy those and subscribe to it.
So those little changes give it an exponential lengthening of its lifespan.
Yeah, and professionals.
Well, final question. I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you think there will be more than 2 or 3 games for these leagues? So we'll have Overwatch, we'll have League of Legends, we'll have I don't know what.
Well, Overwatch has had a very successful launch.
Yeah.
It's been really great to see this big.
I have watched 2 of the matches for Overwatch. I can't believe it to be true, but it is.
Now, they have to do a better job, I think, of explaining to the casual user what's going on.
Right.
There's just so much going on in the game. But yes, I think that there's enough games that will have enough traction, if you will. Valve and Dota, I mean, that's a phenomenon like you can't believe. And I think the NBA, what we're doing with our 2K league, the NHL just announced that we're going to get into eSports, and I think it just is an outgrowth of when you have people in a group and they're playing something together, the competitive juices come on. The other thing that's really fantastic about it is the self-evidence of who's a great player. You're playing.
Thus is true in all sports, though, right?
Well, not really, right? Because you'll see a kid play in a Catholic school in Queens and averages 42 points, right? And then he goes to college and he's the 12th man, right? And you say, why? It's the baskets are the same size. It's the competition. These sports, all of the scores get published, and when you have an outlier, it's like, well, who got that?
Everybody knows what, and everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, and most of this is kind of, it's called Twitch, the network. It's how fast can you process, and most players can do 60, 70, 80 processes in a minute. The Michael Jordans, the LeBron James can do 300 to 400. And so these kids start playing at a really, really young age. It's one of the reasons, frankly, that most of the great players are from China or from Korea.